Hello and welcome to another episode of Katy the Edutainer TV. Today I invited Jo Howarth and I have some questions for her. Questions connected to anxiety, how to deal with the anxiety, how to face the time of coming back to the office after a long time of working from home, how to face our friends, how to actually face this anxiety and this fear that is rising inside us and come back to the real life, yet slightly changed. Okay, everybody, here is Jo Howard, person who created the Happiness Club. I could say that you're my kind of colleague friend from UK. We've met online about 2 years ago and offline about a year ago, I think. Right now, you are my teacher, you are my mentor as it comes for hypnotherapy. And today, we're going to talk a bit about the anxiety and how we can work with anxiety feeling, especially in the times like now when most of us will come back to the office environment and we don't know what to expect from our friends, what to expect from work, and how things are going to happening. What is your feeling, Jo, about this? Like overall, your feeling about, people coming back to the offices?
The overwhelming thing that's going through my head is that it's all about change. This whole thing has been about changing and adjusting. And as human beings, bless us, we don't really like change very much. Change is probably the scariest thing that we encounter. We like knowing what we're doing, when we're doing it, how we're doing it, because all of that makes us feel safe. So when change comes along, even if it's change that we want, actually that's scary. So what that's going to do is, like you say, bring up a ton of anxiety potentially. For me, throughout this whole thing, the whole pandemic and lockdown so far, the emotion that seems to rear its head most often is anxiety. And the reason why that is because anxiety is a future-based emotion. It lives in the future, okay? So, which means when we experience anxiety, that's where we're living. So something happens and our mind goes off down this little path into catastrophe land.
Yeah, you have all the ideas of what negative will happen, and you start accumulating these things. So like you're foreseeing the worst future ever.
Yeah, totally. And that's what we do as human beings, because and again, that's something that comes from being cavemen, however millions of years ago that was, because they had to be on the lookout for danger, because they could get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger that was just around the corner. So we're on the alert looking for danger. So we're used to going off into catastrophe land. But the thing is, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference has no real concept of past, present, future. So when you're imagining this future, and that's what you're doing, you're making it up. It's only happening in your head. It's not happening in reality. But when you imagine this future, this catastrophic, disastrous future, your subconscious mind just assumes whatever you're thinking about, it just assumes that is your current reality. And so it will produce the emotions to go with that reality. So if you're practicing appreciation, it will produce the emotion of appreciation and love and joy and all of that awesome stuff. If you're focusing on catastrophe number 567, it will bring you anxiety, because anxiety's job, and it has a job, its job is to alert you to danger. So if you put yourself mentally in a dangerous situation, anxiety will appear.
So simply, our mind doesn't distinguish between whether this situation is happening right now or whether we are actually projecting the future.
No, it has no concept. It just assumes whatever's got your focus at the moment, because it thinks in pictures. So you'll sit there imagining all these horrible things happening. It just assumes that's what's actually, because why else would you be thinking about it? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I know. It's
So,
like,
yeah.
This is your focus point. It's like whatever you focus on, that's where the energy goes. So if you're focusing on this kind of, forecasting something that haven't even happened, and we don't think about, oh yeah, that would be amazing to see my work colleagues and work with them together in the same office, but we actually have in mind like, oh my god, how it's going to go, and how my boss will react, how people will react on me, how we're going to face each other, especially now in the situation when we realize there is a very special situation. We have a virus. We don't know who, how, when, and I think it's also this lack of information that we have builds a bit of the lack of trust for the future. We kind of project everything in there, but still we are afraid right now.
Yeah.
I just wonder, is there anything that we can do with it right now then?
Yeah, absolutely. There's several things you can do. So you're very right. Absolutely. When we're thinking about going back into work, going back to the office, we are kind of going, oh yeah, it'll be nice to see Jane and Sharon and Bob. Be brilliant to see them. Hooray. Oh, but what if Bob's got the virus and he doesn't know and I catch it and then I give it to my kids and then this happens? And what if, it'd be really odd sitting 2 meters apart from everyone else. And we're going back to the office, but it's a different office. Even if it's the same office, it's going to be different. So again, that change thing comes in. You're like, well, how's it going to be different? And what's that going to mean? And what am I going to do? And blah, 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 blah. And your brain just goes,
we have like thousand questions in the head.
which is where the anxiety comes from. The simplest thing when we're dealing with anxiety, the absolute simplest thing that you can do is to practice rooting yourself in the present moment. I said before, anxiety is a future-based emotion. You're living in the future when you're in anxiety. You are not here now. Mm-hmm. So the simplest thing that you can do is come back to the present moment.
But it doesn't mean that we need to sit down and meditate and try to float in the present moment. Because most people, when I'm telling them like, hey, you have to think about where you are right now, they think about, oh my God, I need to be some kind of guru or find a guru to teach me to be a guru. And I need to be like super zen to be able to root myself.
No, you don't at all.
Thank God.
Literally, the simplest way to do it is yes, meditation's awesome and gorgeous, and it's absolutely a lovely way to be in the present moment. But the simplest tool that you have at your disposal that is completely free and is there any time that you want to use it is your breath. And it is the most in the moment thing. Every breath in is a moment in time. Every breath out is a moment in time. So literally the simplest way to bring yourself, once you realize you've gone off down that path towards catastrophe, the simplest thing to do is to bring your focus, your entire attention to your breathing. So literally just put all of your awareness on it. Feel how it feels going in through your nose. Listen to the sound it's making as it goes in through your nose or your mouth. Feel how that feels. Notice if there's any smells that come in with it. Put as many of your senses as you can onto that breathing, because what that will do is snap you straight back into this moment. It will stop that. And once you're back here in the now, then you will have the wherewithal, once you've centered yourself, you'll have the wherewithal to go, oh, yeah, I was making that up. That's not actually happening. And you'll feel the anxiety start to dissolve inside you instantly that you say that to yourself, that you say, oh no, actually, yeah, sorry, hands up, I was totally making that up. And then once you're in the present moment, then you can just, again, bring your attention to something, anything at all. Your breath is beautiful, but find something beautiful. I'm trying to see what's on my desk. I have a cuddly penguin.
Oh, he's gorgeous.
He is very lovely. So find something that you like looking at, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just put all of your attention on that. Look at his eyes. It's so cute. Little blue eyes. You purposely put all of your attention onto that. Because if you're putting your attention onto that, you're not putting it onto catastrophe number 567.
Coming to the breathing, is it kind of a normal breathing, or should we do this kind of, for example, yoga, deep breathing with the big sound of the breath?
So It's honestly entirely up to you. Yes, absolutely. If you can do lovely, slow, deep, long breaths, that will do you the power of good, because you will be calming your physical system down. You will be releasing that emotion and releasing the physiological effects of that emotion. Brilliant. But particularly with anxiety, what anxiety tends to lead to when it gets to extreme circumstances is panic attacks. When you experience a panic attack, your breathing is shallow and fast and you can't quite catch it properly. Yes. So then trying to do a slow, deep breath is probably one of the most difficult things ever, which is
Yeah.
why I say don't put that pressure on yourself. If you can do a slow, deep breath, awesome. If you can't, just put your awareness on the breath. Notice how fast it
So
is.
it's
Notice
literally
it.
shifting the focus.
Yeah.
So instead of thinking and rethinking how things are going to happen in the office, how it's going to be, how we're going to act against one another, just to keep back the focus to where I am right now, to the place where I am, to the things that I have around myself, to find back this kind of moment where I am at the moment. When I will go to the office, I will think about the office and we'll see how it's going to go. Of course, as you said, it would be definitely different because we have a different approach. We have a different awareness of a certain things at the moment that, even the things like cleaning hands, I have a feeling that everybody right now are cleaning hands 20 times more than they used to, because they're aware that this is actually, the virus and bacteria are in your hands, and they think about that very often. But again, the moment when we're going to be in the office, we will deal with the situation. Is there anything else, like any other tip that you could give our audience to work a bit with that anxiety on top of the breathing? Some other things that we can kind of refocus or change our mindset into something more pleasurable?
I touched on it very briefly with the penguin, but appreciation, to start purposely practicing appreciation, not just when you feel anxious, but to purposely every day, as often as you can every day, find all the stuff that you have in your life that's amazing. List it out to yourself. Sit down at one of the exercises I teach is something called the GLAD exercise. Literally sit down at the end of the day, go back over that day and find as many things as you can from that day to be glad about. Everything. And I mean, I don't mean like look for big, exciting stuff. I mean, that cup of tea that you got where you got 5 seconds to sit to yourself, that conversation you had with someone you care about, the hug that you got off your child, the stuff like that, that just actually, when you stop and savor them, are the moments that make life the beautiful thing that it is. The more you practice appreciation, like I say, just find something beautiful and stop and appreciate it. Look at it, find all the colors and shapes and brilliance in whatever it is you're looking at, a picture, a flower, whatever. Practice appreciation as much as you can. And again, you'll be rooting yourself in the present moment, but you'll be switching your focus to this side of life instead of this side of life. And you'll find then that this side of life doesn't affect you anywhere near as much as it used to.
So it's like finding those little positive things. I'm glad that you said those little moments, because people, they like to achieve things, big things. And when they think for the day, and I myself, I used to be like this. When I looked at my day and I didn't see like a massive achievement, like, I don't know, a new contract signed up or a new huge client signed up, I felt that, okay, that maybe I didn't do something good during the day. But I've learned through time as well that this kind of little things, like as you said, this moment when you can appreciate your favorite cup of coffee or a cup of tea or anything that you enjoyed during the day. My favorite moments actually during the day, and thank God it's several times a day, it's my son coming to me and saying, "Oh, mommy, hug me." And this is something that I'm taking the energy from that hug, like
Mm.
tripling the energy from that hug, because I know this is something that I love. This is something that I have and that is amazing. And this really gets me back to this present moment. And that's amazing what you said, the little things. It's not only.
And it's also about recognizing that honestly, there are miracles, literal miracles that go on around us every single day, every single moment of every single day. So not just the fact that you appreciate that hug that you had with your son, but the fact that the sun comes up every single morning. You don't have to do a thing about it. The
Yeah.
air is exactly the right consistency, whatever the word is, for us to breathe, for our lungs to work, to keep our bodies alive. We don't have to do anything about it. We breathe. We don't have to do anything about it. Our hearts beat in our bodies when we sleep, when we're not consciously thinking about them all the time. We don't have to do anything about it.
It's that all those obvious things,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, totally. But when you stop and think about them, you go, oh, they're mind blowing. The way our bodies work, the way the world works, the way things grow in your garden. It's like all this, it literally is miraculous stuff
Yeah.
that we take for granted every single day.
I feel even happier already. Like when talking to you, I just thought about all the flowers that I have at the balcony, and they bloom. It's like, oh my God, when we finish this recording, I'm like, I'm going to my balcony. I'm just gonna enjoy sitting in there, looking at the sunset, and just having this positive energy, flowing for the world. And I think this is something that, indeed, we very often are rushing through the life, and even now, even if we work from home, rushing through for this time during the day, we very often forgot about those little things. It's something that I love to do right now, especially when the sun is up, when I'm waking up. I open the window and I just breathe in the sun, breathe in the energy of the world, because it's not so much of breathing the air, but it's just this energy, this positive, this beauty that is around us, that on the daily basis we tend to forget that there are so many amazing things around us.
Absolutely, because we allow ourselves to be distracted by the what ifs and
Amazing.
the day-to-dayness of life and the things we have to get done and the busyness, and I think that's one of the things that this time has given us, is the opportunity to slow down and appreciate everything that's around you, appreciate how things used to be, and look to the future and appreciate how things are going to be. We don't know that yet,
Yeah,
but you can approach that with fear and anxiety, or you can approach it with love and appreciation, and that's your choice.
exactly. I think it's very important for all of us to understand it's all about choosing how we feel. I have a colleague who's always saying that happiness is a choice.
Mm.
Being happy is a choice. Thank you for that. I think that if you guys will work out those two amazing things about really finding your breath and relaxing yourself, and maybe even writing down things that you appreciate during the day, I think that could be something good for you to start getting to the center of your own life, to, as I always say, becoming the CEO of your own life, but at the same time trying to calm down on this anxiety. Instead of thinking about what bad might happen, think about what we are now, what we can do now with the current moment. Thank you very much, Joe, for that. I appreciate that a lot.
Thank
Cool.
you for having me. Thank you very much for
Amazing.
having me.
Thanks a lot. Would you like also, because you are actually, I mentioned it at the beginning, you also have this happiness club. Can you tell us a bit about that? Because maybe you guys might be interested in joining. I think that's a great idea because you're sharing a lot with the group of people who are in this happiness club. Tell us something more about it.
Okay, so it's an online membership club, and we send the members a message every day with a strategy for them to think about. So it might be an appreciation exercise or a breathing exercise to have a go at, because there's tons of them. It might be a story about my life or one of the team's life, that something that's happened to us that's given us some kind of learning or insight that we want to share with them. But every single day, because your colleague is absolutely right, happiness is absolutely a choice, and we are all absolutely capable of making it every day. We just A, don't realize it, B, don't know how to. So the point of the club is just to step by step, day by day, is to teach you another little way to see life, another little way to change your thinking, another little way to appreciate something, another little way to relax. Lots of different strategies that over time just start to change the way you think about yourself and the world around you. And you become calmer, happier, more balanced, more comfortable in your own skin as a result.
I think that's the amazing support really that you're giving to people, that they can really day by day change something in their life and not be afraid of that change, but really appreciate every moment of their life. And as we said, yes, getting back to the center, to getting back to the present moment. I will leave you guys the link to Joe's website below, and hopefully you will check it out and join. And thank you, Joe, once again for today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot, and bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.